In today's tutorial, let's do the simple texture crochet scarf together, and this is featuring Caron Cakes yarn. So today's color that I'm working with is called Fairy, and this is part of the Caron Cakes line. So we're going to chain up 36 to begin, and that is your starting chain. Create a slip knot. Remember that it never counts as one. So just chain 36. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Please go all the way to 36 for me, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. So let's do your foundation row together. So we're going to create this, and we need to create spaces, chain 1 spaces, and this whole particular project works like this. So we need to do the foundation row to get this pattern started. So let's go second chain from the hook. So just looking under the hook, so 1 and 2, turn it around and get the back loop only, and I want you to single crochet. Now I want you to chain 1 and skip the next chain. See how it's turned over now that you turned the first one, and go to the second and just single crochet. Okay, that's all it is. So chain 1, skip 1 chain, go to the second chain over and single crochet. So chain 1, skip 1, and single crochet into the next. Please do that all the way across your chain. When you get to the other side of the chain, if your stitch counts are right, you're going to chain 1, skip 1, and the very final will be a single crochet. So that is your foundation row. So what's happened now is that you've got your single crochets followed in by chain 1 spaces, and we're gonna be playing within those spaces. So let's move along to round 1 or rows 1 and 2, and those are a repeat pattern for the remainder of your scarf. So let's turn our work. So rows 1 and 2 are different from each other, and that's because of the chain 1 spaces that we're leaving behind. So whenever we start row number 1, which is right now, is that we're gonna chain up 1, and we're gonna do 1 single crochet right directly underneath into the other single crochet. And we're going to single crochet right into this chain 1 space, and then we're going to start the pattern as usual. So we're going to chain 1 now, and then skip to the next chain 1 space and single crochet, and we're going to do that all the way across. So chain 1, skip that one, and go right to the next chain 1 space. So what's going to happen is that the spaces in the very beginning of the rows and the end of the rows change position each and every time, every other row. So we just have to be paying attention to where we're starting, and honestly once you get this in your brain, you're going to be able to see what to do anyway, and so you won't have to look back at the pattern very often. So just continue along right to the end of this particular row, and this is row number 1. So as you come up all the way to the other side, this is row number 1. It's gonna be slightly different on this side. So you're gonna go to the next chain 1 space, which is the last one right before the end, and you're gonna single crochet, but you're not at the end, you got one more to go, and you're just gonna single crochet into the final single crochet, just like that. Okay, so row number 1, just think of it that you got 2 single crochets in a row before you start in the chain 1 playing spaces. Let's turn our work and go for row number 2. So row number 2 is slightly different, because what's gonna happen is that you got a single crochet right in the second one, and yet you can skip over it. So we're gonna chain up 1 first, single crochet in the first one, and then immediately start what you kinda did already in the chain. So chain 1 and just go to the next chain 1 space over here. So row number 2 of them is kind of actually pretty simple. You just gotta worry about row number 1 and make sure that you keep the pattern consistent. So you're just working in between all the chain 1 spaces followed by chain 1s to separate those so that you have more spaces to work with next time that you would tackle the next row higher. So this is a really fabulous stitch. This is a really well stitched, used on yarnspirations.com. It's heavily used in a lot of projects generally because it looks really good. It has some stretching power, and it actually speeds you up in time as well, and it looks really quite amazing. So let me get you to the end, and I'm about to be there in just a moment anyway, so I might as well keep talking. I don't know any good jokes, I'm sorry. I'm not a joke teller. Okay, so chain 1, and I'm coming up to the end of this pretty soon. Daniel has done this stitch more times than I can count. And so as you come up to the end, you just got to be able to identify what you're looking at. So I got one more chain 1 space left, and then look, I got 2 single crochets in a row, so I got to chain up 1, skip over that single crochet, and just single crochet right into the end. And that's what it looks like at this moment. So let's turn our work and go for row number 1 again. So you remember what to do with row number 1? Let me repeat that. Chain up 1, single crochet into the very first. You have a chain 1 space right is next. You're gonna have to put a single crochet in there, and then chain 1, and then jump to the next single crochet space, or chain 1 space, sorry, and you keep doing that all the way. So row number 1, whenever you're doing this row, remember the first 2 are gonna be single crochets, and then you can start playing into the chain 1 spaces, and you're gonna do that all the way across. Okay, and let me just take you to the end of this row now. So I'm coming up to the end of repeating row number 1 again. I go into the last chain 1 space and then I just single crochet into the last stitch, so I don't chain 1 after that. Let's turn to work repeating row number 2 once again just to show you. So chain up 1 single crochet in the first one, we chain 1, skip over the next single crochet and go right for the chain 1 space, and then just continue to move along like that all the way across. So all you just need to do is keep going back and forth. The color transitions that you see that the models are wearing is actually from the yarn itself. So as I'm looking over, I'm gonna be done this yarn in about an inch or 2, and then I will be switching over to a different color. So when I say yarn, I mean this color. So the balls would transition color on its own in a continuous strand, and it will just kind of work out like magic. The neat thing about it is that it's kind of artistic in some way. It falls where it falls in the colors, and that's kind of a fabulous idea, and a lot of study was done in order to get the right colors to mix with each other to have bold colors but also accent colors, and then in some of the Caron cakes more neutral colored depending on people's outfits and what they prefer to wear on themselves. So that's it for now. This is a simple texture scarf. This is a free pattern featuring the Caron Cakes yarn, and this is a free pattern available on michaels.com. This is the end of row number 2, so I skip over this second single crochet and go right for the last one in order to finish that. So that's it for now. Please enjoy this free pattern, and until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of thecrochetcrowd.com. See ya. Bye bye.